Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for August 1st, 2016. Happy Monday to you. Let's take a look, before we get into what's happening with 97L, at a look at this stunning sea surface temperature chart. This is the anomaly chart for today, the departures from normal, updated today, August the 1st. Notice in the Atlantic Basin, the main development region, very warm compared to average, and the western Atlantic as a whole, especially up here off the East Coast, just incredibly warm compared to where it should be this time of year. The Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, all above the long-term average as well. So this bodes for a very busy season. Not saying it'll be like 2005 where we have 28 named storms and whatever, 15 hurricanes or whatever it was, but a very busy landfall season could be in store because of all of this warm water, especially here in the western basin. The main development region, nice and warm, as I just mentioned. And we will see on Thursday if Colorado State University lead author on the hurricane forecast project for the season, Dr. Phil Klotzbach, has any new information looking at this warmer Atlantic than he saw back in June and July. I mean, you would think that this is going to factor in and maybe increase the forecast just a little bit. In the Pacific, sort of adding to all of this, you can see the very cold anomalies now, especially out here towards the central Pacific in what we call the Nino 3.4 area. Basically the ENSO, or El Nino Southern Oscillation phenomenon, is divided up into these different regions, and this is the one that most people look at here, the 3.4 area. It's kind of like a Venn diagram, but with rectangles instead of circles. And so this is a big contrast. The cold tropical Pacific, the warm tropical Atlantic, setting up for a very busy time ahead, and some of the longer range modeling indicating that lower pressures in the Atlantic Basin overall. I just think things are going to go the way we figured they would this year. And it's not like I'm the only one seeing this, or I'm some kind of genius for figuring this out. No, not at all. You know, some of these tools, all of these tools actually are available to anybody to look at, and we've been watching this for several months, as have other people who know what to look for. And so when the writing's on the wall, it's on the wall, and we see it. So here we are, August 1st, just now beginning the ramp up in the traditional peak time of the hurricane season. I've always looked at it, going back to even when I was a kid, that August 15th through the mid part of October, maybe the end of October even, was traditionally the peak time of the hurricane season. That anything that happened before that was just, something interesting or an anomaly. And, you can see that the first part of the season is inactive compared to the rest of the season here, centered on this period between mid-August and late October. So we have a long way to go for sure. And here's the points of origin for today, first part of August, the first third. Interesting that we have 97L down here, located right in here. Notice that the Caribbean Sea as a whole, the first 10 days of August, only has 3 developments in it, going back more than 100 years. So it could be interesting. I don't mean to laugh at it, but it's not like the Caribbean is this prolific development region, and for good reason, especially right through here. Pressure differences and the way the trade winds get squeezed through here typically don't allow much to develop. In fact, you can see that more often, certainly than not, systems develop just to the east of the Caribbean. It's like there's a wall built here and won't let anything pass. But once into this region of the western Caribbean, the western third of basically, that's when over time things have been more conducive to development. But you can even see there really not much, just one dot there between Jamaica and the Yucatan. So this will be something kind of unusual if 97L goes on to develop. It is certainly headed for, right now, only increasing upper ocean heat content, and all of that area here that you see with this coloring is at least some ocean heat content through here, and increasing amounts up the scale, even off the southeast coast, setting up, like I said, for a very potential big bang for the buck, whatever you want to call it, hurricane season. I want people to be ready for that. Okay, this is very serious. Hurricanes can ruin lives, as you well know. That is an obvious statement. And when I see this kind of water temperature profile, it does begin to make me worry, because I like the people who live along the coast. They're great people, and I want to study hurricanes when they hit. And that contradiction there is tough to reconcile sometimes, because I don't want who have become many of my friends along the coast here through social media and elsewhere to be impacted negatively. And when I see this, I think that it's only a matter of time. And speaking of that, we do have the red X down here indicating high chance of development with 97L. Basically, it's moving westward at 20 miles per hour. We've been watching it. The satellite presentation's getting better. The Air Force Reserve Recon Group, the Hurricane Hunters, currently en route as of 2 p.m. this afternoon. So we'll get a better look at what's going on. Visible satellite imagery. First of all, you can see that the southern part of Hispaniola here, the Dominican Republic and Haiti, getting a few squalls thanks to social media. Saw a couple of videos of that from the Dominican Republic. But if you look right in here, it looks to me like it's trying to curl up more so than ever before, sort of a center of circulation. And once it gets past this little isthmus here, this little peninsula of Haiti, and these high mountains through here, the inflow should improve, and it should start to show that signature of developing into a tropical storm. Of course, the recon plane will be in there shortly, and they will give us what we call in situ data, on-site data, and that'll be very helpful for our friends in Jamaica. So if that is truly the center and it passes something like that, clearly you can see that Jamaica here would be in that right front quadrant. And so onshore flow, all of that convergence going on, and this upward motion with these thunderstorms, that's headed your way. So the potential for very heavy rainfall, luckily this is moving fast enough that perhaps this could be a good dose of rainfall without it being excessive. But be ready for what will essentially be tropical storm conditions, and if the recon plane finds a closed circulation, this will technically be a tropical storm, and it would be named Earl. And the bigger picture here, again, if we assume that the center passes something like this, yeah, you can tell, Jamaica there, you're going to be having all that squally weather coming right over the top of you. The Cayman Islands fringe effects from this, more than likely, since it's not jogging anymore to the north. And then the eventual path from the computer models, I didn't put them up. There's just so many different ones to look at. When it all boils down to one thing. And I figured let's keep it simple today. There's very strong high pressure to the north of this system, and it's going to keep it maybe even moving a little bit south at some point, and then probably drive it in something like that. This high pressure area up here just isn't going to budge. Not only the one over the United States, but you've got the very strong Bermuda high sitting out here, and that's not going to allow for any poleward or northward movement to speak of. And don't be surprised if you know your headings. 270 is due west. If this takes a little bit of a 268 or 265 and scrapes the north coast of Honduras before coming in to Belize, if it even makes it out of Honduras, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm telling you, this high pressure up here is strong enough that if you're in Texas, you're not having to worry about this at all, I don't think. And even down here in Mexico, this may be just a Bay of Campeche issue, depending on whether or not this gets buried in Central America. So we'll watch and see how that evolves. And I will certainly be talking about this more on the blog and on social media. Twitter is my tool of choice to post tidbits of information here and there. And of course, this will all go into our app. If you don't have that, now's a good time to get it. It's called Hurricane Impact, and everything we do, get some water. It's kind of dry in here. There we go. Everything we publish is in the app and instantaneously, so that's good as well. So moving along to this week in hurricane history, I thought about not doing it, but this isn't named yet. It's not a hurricane, and it's not threatening millions of people, so I thought, okay, we don't have to skip this week in hurricane history, and it's important to me because this is another one that I was in. This was Hurricane Alex, formed today. Perfect timing. Way back in 2004. You remember that season? I certainly do. So Alex formed from the combination of an upper level low and a surface trough sitting over here off the southeast coast at the end of July, and then it moved up and quickly strengthened with the eye, the center of the eye. That's what they define as a landfall, basically. The center of the eye was 10 miles from where I was standing with a couple of my colleagues on the Outer Banks in Hatteras Village. So it almost made landfall. The western side of the eye, maybe about a mile of it came over, or just close enough. But it wasn't considered technically a landfall, but it was darn close, and it produced several feet of storm surge in Ocracoke, swamping hundreds of cars. It was some of the worst damage there that they had seen since Hurricane Gloria back in 1985. Alex went on to become a Category 3 hurricane very early and very high in latitude up here when it did so. You can see the outline of the Outer Banks in North Carolina right there. This is where I was. I'll draw a dot, and there is the center of Alex back in the day. So we were very close to it. Had storm surge coming in off the Pamlico Sound. If you're watching this on YouTube, when you're done, go in and search Hurricane Alex, and you'll see our video from it, from the 2004 season. It was very impressive, and luckily it moved out pretty quickly. Otherwise, it could have been a big problem. We were safe where we were, but a lot of people lost their cars due to that unexpected storm surge by them. They just weren't paying attention. And Alex did form pretty quickly and a little stronger than expected. Just goes to show that when they're close to land like that, that could be very problematic. So that's this week at Hurricane History. This will be something that I'll do sparingly going forward when we have more important things to talk about. So we'll see each Monday if hurricane history gets bumped or if we add it in because the tropics aren't quite as menacing at the time. All right, so again, I will be staying on top of this, the latest with 97L, probably soon to be upgraded to Tropical Storm Alex. If you're in Jamaica, treat it as a tropical storm headed your way, and be careful out there. And if you have any video you want to tag us at Hurricane Track or hashtag Hurricane Track or whatever, I'll try to share that on social media as well. All right? So be safe out there. Have a good rest of your Monday as well. I am Mark Sudduth. Trying to figure out how I'm going to end this. For HurricaneTrack.com, thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll definitely be back again with you tomorrow.